And in this way, he is the complete whole residing within the body of everyone as Paramatma. Again, it says, I pay obeisances unto the form of complete existence and transcendence. Okay, now 14th verse. Namo namaste. Namo namaste Rushabhaya Sattvatam Vidurakashthaya Muhu Yoginam Nirastasamyatishayena Radhasa Swadhamni Brahmani Ramshyate Namaha. Namaha Namaste. Let me pay obeisances. Astu Rishabhaya, unto the great associate. He is associate of Sattvatam, that is the members of the Yadu dynasty. Vidurakashthaya is far from all the mundane wranglers. And also, Kuyoginam, all devotees. He has come to vanquish them. That means he is always a problem for the non-devotees. Nice word. Samya Atishayena, equal status. He is then Atishayena by greatness. Radhasa by opulence. Swadhamni in his own abode. Brahmani, the spiritual sky. Ramshyate, enjoys. Nama, I do hold on. So he is a supreme enjoyer of both material and spiritual world. Yet he enjoys his own abode in spiritual sky. There is no one equal to him because his transcendental opulence is immeasurable. So he is the eternal associate of Edu dynasty. He has come to vanquish the non-devotees. And he is the only enjoyer. And he enjoys his own abode. He enjoys both. He enjoys the material world also, the spiritual world. Bhaktaram is equal in that, but at the same time, he loves his own abode. Swadhamni. Ramshyate, that means enjoys. So I bow down toward him. Sukadeva Goswami is speaking this to Parikshit Maharaj. Adi Satwiki Mataji, read.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Happy Damodar, happy Diwali to you and everybody.
Now, happy Margashishman.
Oh, yeah.
That's one. So everybody should do nice Bhagavad Gita marathon.
Yes. Yes. Okay, Mataji, Haripul. Sloka 14. Namo namaste namo namaste stva sabhaya satotang viduro kashtaya.
Namo namaste. So that you have to tell it very silently. Namo namaste. So Rishabhaya. Satvatam Rishabhaya. Like that.
Okay. Namo namaste stashabhaya satotang viduro kashtaya muhu pujoginam. Nirasta samyatisayana radhasa swadhamani brahmani rangsyate namaha. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto he who is the associate of the members of the Yadu dynasty and who is always a problem for the non-devotees. He is the supreme enjoyer of both the material and spiritual worlds. Yet he enjoys his own abode in the spiritual sky. There is no one equal to him because his transcendental opulence is immeasurable. Purport: there are two sides of the transcendental manifestations of the Supreme Lord, Sri Krishna. For the pure devotees, he is the constant companion, as in the case of his becoming one of the family members of the Yadu dynasty, or his becoming the friend of Arjuna, or his becoming the associate neighbor of the inhabitants of Vrindavan. As the son of Nanda Yashoda, the friend of Sudama, Sridama, and Madhumangala, or the lover of damsels of Brajabhumi, etc. That is the part of his personal features. And by his impersonal feature, he expands the rays of the Brahma Yoti, which is limitless and all pervasive. Part of this all pervasive Brahmajyoti, which is compared to the sun rays, is covered by the darkness of the Mahatattva, and, and this insignificant part is known as the material world. In this material world, there are innumerable universes like the one we can experience, and in each of them, there are hundreds of thousands of planets, like the one we are inhabiting. The mundaners are more or less captivated by the unlimited expansions of the rays of the Lord, but the devotees are concerned more with his personal form which everything is emanating. Janmadasya Jata. As the sun rays are concentrated in the sun disk, the Brahmayoti is concentrated in Goloka Vrindavan, the topmost spiritual planet in the spiritual sky. The immeasurable spiritual sky is full of spiritual planets named Vaikunthas far beyond the material sky. The mundaners have insufficient information of even the mundane sky. So, what can they think of the spiritual sky? Therefore, the mundaners are always far, far away from him. Even if in the future they are able to manufacture some machine whose speed may be accelerated to the velocity of the wind or mind. The mundaners will still be unable to imagine reaching the planets in the spiritual sky. So the Lord and his residential abode will always remain a myth or a mysterious problem. But for the devotees of the Lord will always be available as an associate. In the spiritual sky, his opulence is immeasurable. The Lord resides in all the spiritual planets, the innumerable Vaikuntha planets, by expanding his planetary portions along with his liberated devotee associates. But the impersonalists who want to merge in the existence of the Lord are allowed to merge as one of the spiritual sparks of the Brahmajyoti. They have no qualifications for becoming associates of the Lord, either in the Vaikuntha planets or in the supreme planet, Goloka Vrindavan, described in the Bhagavad Gita as Madhama, and here in the verse as the Swadhama of the Lord. This Madhama or Swadhama is described in the Bhagavad Gita as follows. Na tad vasarate surya, na sasanka, na pavaka, Jad gatva na nivartante tadhama paramam mama. The Lord Swadhama does not require any sunlight or moonlight or electricity for illumination. That Dhamma or place is supreme, and whoever goes there never comes back to this material world. The Vaikuntha planets and Goloka Vrindavan planets are all self illuminating, and the rays scattered by those Swadhama of the Lord constitute the existence of the Brahma Yoti, as further confirmed in the Vedas like the Mundaka 2 to 10, Katha 2 to 15, and Chetaswatar Upanishad 6:14. Na tatra surya vati na chandra tarakam ne nema vidyoto vanti kuto yam agni tam eva vantam anu vati sarvam tasya vasa sarvam idam bivati. In the Swadhama of the Lord, there is no need of sun, moon, or stars for illumination, nor is there need of electricity. So, what to speak of ignited lamps? On the other hand, it is because those planets are self illuminating that all effulgence has become possible. and whatever there is that is dazzling is due to the reflection of that Swadharma. One who is dazzled by the effulgence of the impersonal Brahmayoti cannot know the personal transcendence. Therefore, in the Isopanishad 15, it is prayed that the Lord shift his dazzling effulgence so that the devotee can see the real reality. It is spoken thus: Hiranna Mayano Patrena Satya Syapi Hitam Mukham Tat Tvam Pusan Apur Aparbrunu Satya Dhamaya
Mm.
Drishtya. Drishte. O Lord, you are the maintainer of everything, both material and spiritual, and everything flourishes by your mercy. Your devotional service or Bhakti Yoga is the actual principle of religion, Satya Dharma, and I am engaged in that service. So kindly protect me by showing your real face. Please, therefore, remove the veil of your Brahmajyoti rays so that I can see your form of eternal bliss and knowledge. This is such a
Hiranmaya
nice, this is
is
awesome.
Upanishad verse. Yeah, these are Ishopanishad verse.
Yeah.
Hiranmaya Patru Satyasya Petamukam Tattam Bhusha Pavanu Satyadharmaya Drishti. So please remove the refulgence. I want to see you. Why are you showing the refulgence? So devotee is not interested in Brahma refulgence because he is not able to relish the beautiful form which is full of bliss and knowledge. So these Upanishad words is Ishopanishad verse is very important verse. Every day one should chant this.
Hiranyamayana.
हिरण्मयेन पात्रेण सत्यस्यापि हितं मुखं तत्त्वं कृष्णपावनं सत्यधर्माय दृष्टे. Okay.
Mataji, Mataji, there is the sloka itself. It says that who is always a problem for the non-devotees. What is that?
Yeah, appearing as Kala, no?
Oh,
Is
God, right, yes, Mrityu. Uh, okay.
Kala. Just now we completed that verse. Even in the third canto, he
Yeah,
is always problem for a non-devotee. He appears as Kala. All their aspirations are completely destroyed. So they don't want
right,
to come.
right.
यत्कीर्तनं यत् स्मरणं यदीक्षणं यत् वन्दनं यत् श्रवणं यदहरणं यत् अर्हणं लोकस्य सद्यो विदुनोति कल्मषं तस्मै सुभद्रश्रवसे नमो नमः. यत् कीर्तनं यत् स्मरणं, so one has to glorify him, one has to remember him. Yad ikshanam, one has to always, he is the audience actually, he has to be, he should be, uh, he is the only object of our vision. Yet Mandanam, one has to pray, one has to hear about him, one has to worship him. Arahana. Lokasya Satyaha Vidunoti Kalmasham. This will automatically cleanse all the sins. Tasmai Subhadra. Subhadra, one of the meaning Subhadra is auspicious. Shabase, whoever has heard this, one has to do that. And in this way, here Sudhi Goswami says, he is the object for everything, all our Navidha Bhakti. And this will pay obeisances to him. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Pada Sevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyan, Sakya, Mahatma Nivedanam. So he is the object. He is the object of our vision, he is the object of our ears, everything. Okay. Amala Krishna Prabhu, please read. You have maintained until Adhika also. Read, read. Your voice is not heard.
Now it is audible.
Yeah.
I
The
think
two things
something
are
wrong.
on. Another thing is you should off it. There are two In the two things, Ashok Aneja is also there, Amala Krishna Das is also there.
Yes, because it was not allowing me to change that, and I logged in from the mobile phone. Now it is not allowing me to exit, so I have stuck up with
Okay,
both.
read.
I'll read them. Yat kirtanam, yat smaranam, yat ikshanam, yat bandhanam, yat shravanam, yat arhanam, lokasya sadhyo vidhonoti kalmasham, tasmai subhadra shravase namo namaha. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation. Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto the all auspicious Lord Shri Krishna, about whom glorification, remembrances, audience, prayers, hearing, and worship can at once cleanse the effects of all sins of the performer. Purport. The sublime form of religious performance is to free oneself from all reactions of sins is suggested herein by the greatest authority, Sri Shukdev Goswami. Kirtanam or glorification of the Lord can be performed in very many ways, such as remembering, visiting temples to see the deity, offering prayers in front of the Lord, and hearing recitations of glorification of the Lord as they are mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam or in the Bhagavad Gita. Kirtanam can be performed both by singing the glories of the Lord in accompaniment with the melodious music and by recitation of scriptures like Srimad Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita. The devotees need not be disappointed in the physical absence of the Lord, though they may think of not being associated with Him. The devotional process of chanting, hearing, remembering, etc., either of some of them or even one of them, can give us the desired result of associating with the Lord by discharging the transcendental loving service of the Lord in the above manner. Even the very sound of the holy name of Lord Krishna or Rama can at once surcharge the atmosphere spiritually. We must know definitely that the Lord is present whenever such pure transcendental service is performed, and thus the performer of offenseless kirtanam has positive association with the Lord. Similarly, remembrance and prayers also can give us the desired result if they are properly done under expert guidance. One should not concoct forms of devotional service. One may worship the form of the Lord in a temple, or one may impersonally offer the Lord devotional prayers in a mosque or a church. One is sure to get free from the reactions of sins provided one is very careful about not committing sins willingly in expectation of getting free from the reactions of sins by worshipping in the temple or by offering prayers in the church. This mentality of committing sins willfully on the strength of devotional service is called Namno balade jassehi papa buddhi, and it is the greatest offense in the discharge of devotional service. Hearing, therefore, is essential in order to keep oneself strictly on guard against such pitfalls of sins. And in order to give special stress to the hearing process, the Goswami invokes all auspicious fortune in this matter. Hare Krishna.
Next, 16th verse. Vichakshana yaccharanupasada pasadana sangam yudasyo bhayatontaratmanah bindanti hi brahmagatim gataklamas gataklamas tasmai subhadra shavase namo namah vichakshana yaccharanupasada Sangam Yudasyo Bhayatontaraatmanah Vindantihi Brahmagatim Gataklamas Tasmai Subhatra Shavase Namo Namah. Vichakshana, highly intellectual, whose Charana Upasadana, simply dedicating himself unto the lotus feet, that person is considered to be highly intellectual. Sangam, attachment with us, he has completely given up. Ubha Yataha, for the present and future existence. Anta Atmanah, of the heart and soul, Indanti, moves progressively. He is certainly Brahmagatim towards spiritual existence, Gata Klamaha, without difficulty, Tasmay unto him, Subhadra, or auspicious Shavase unto one who is heard, Lama, my due obeisances, Nama again and again. So let me pay my obeisances again and again to all auspicious Lord Shri Krishna. The highly intellectual, simply by surrendering unto his lotus feet, are relieved of all attachments to the present and future existence, and without difficulty progress towards spiritual existence. So a person who is completely surrendered to Lord, he is actually intelligent. That is given. So he is highly intelligent. Vichakshana. Vichakshana means he is highly intelligent. So Lord is all auspicious, Bhadra. He is Antakarana, Antatma, he knows everything. So devotional service is the best process to understand self-realization, to understand one's constitutional position. If someone gives up that path and engages in speculative knowledge, is only actually taking a very troublesome path. Gyanis, yogis, the path is very difficult. For a bhakta, it is very, very simple. That is given. Okay. Krishna Priya, read.
Hare Krishna Dandat Pranam Mataji. Text 16th. Vichakshanayascharanopasadhanat sangham yudhisyo bhayato antaratmanah vindanti hi brahma gatim gataklama tasmai subhadra sravase namo namaha. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Let me offer my respectable obeisances again and again unto the all auspicious Lord Sri Krishna, the highly intellectual, simply by surrendering unto his lotus feet, are relieved of all attachments to present and further existence and without difficulty progress towards the spiritual existence. Purport. Lord Sri Krishna has repeatedly instructed Arjuna, or for that matter, everyone concerned with becoming his unalloyed devotee. In the last phase of his instruction, in the Bhagavad Gita 18.64-66, he instructed most confidentially as follows: Sarva gruhatma bhuyat srinu me prana mam vacha istosmi dharmam hiti tato vikshasyam te hitam.
Wait, I
Mana,
read all the verses.
yes,
Sarvabhuyatamam bhuyah शृणु मे परमं वचः इष्टोऽसि मे दृढमिति
istosmi
ततो वक्ष्यामि ते हितम्. Between 64 to 66. Manmana, this you can read.
Manmana bhava madbhakta madhyajye mam namaskuru mam vaishvasi satyam te pratignye priyasomi.
मन्मनाभ मद्भक्तो मद्याजी माम नमस्कुरु मामेव
Namaskuru.
संयुक्ते प्रतिजानी प्रियोऽसि मे. You did your Bhakti Shastri, na? You should know these verses.
Yes,
Sarvadharma
Mataji. Sarvadharma parityajya mamekam saranam vraja. Aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami ma sucha.
हम
My
त्वाम
dear Arjuna,
हम त्वाम सर्वपापेभ्यो मोक्षयिष्यामि मा शुचः. Read.
My dear Arjuna, you are very dear to me, and therefore only for your good I will disclose the most secret part of my instructions. It is simply this: become a pure devotee of mine and give yourself unto me only, and I promise you full spiritual existence, by which you may gain the eternal right of transcendental loving service unto me. Just give up all other ways of religiosity and exclusively surrender unto me, and believe that I will protect you from your sinful acts, and I shall deliver you. Do not worry any more. Persons who are intelligent take serious notice of this last instruction of the Lord. Knowledge of the self is the first step in spiritual realization, which is called confidential knowledge. And a step further is God realization, which is called more confidential knowledge. The culmination of the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita is God realization. And when one attains this stage of God realization, he naturally, voluntarily become a devotee of the Lord to render him loving transcendental service. This devotional service to the Lord is always based on love of God and is distinct from the nature of routine services as prescribed in Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, or Dhyana Yoga. In the Bhagavad Gita, there are different instructions for such men of different categories, and there are various descriptions for Varnasrama Dharma, Sannyasa Dharma, Yati Dharma. The renounced order of life control the senses, meditation, perfection of mystic powers, etc. But one who fully surrender unto the Lord to render services into him, out of spontaneous love for him, factually assimilates the essence of all knowledge described in the Vedas. One who adopts this method very skillfully attains perfection of life at once. And this perfection of human life is called Brahmagati, or the progressive march in spiritual existence. As ununicited by Srila Jiva Goswami on the basis of Vedic assurance, Brahmagati means to attain a spiritual form as good as that of the Lord. And in that form, the liberated living being eternally lives on one of the spiritual planets situated in the spiritual sky. Attainment of this perfection of life is easily available to a pure devotee of the Lord without his undergoing any difficult method of perfection. Such a devotional life is full of kirtana, smaranam, ikshanam, etc. As mentioned in the previous verses. One must therefore adopt this simple way of devotional life in order to attain the highest perfection available in any category of the human form of life, in any part of the world. When Lord Brahma met Lord Krishna as a playful child at Vrindavan, he offered his prayer in which he said, Sreya Sritam Bhaktim उद्यस्यते विभो क्लेशयन्ति ये कैवल्य बोधे लभ्यते तेषाम् असौ क्लेशालये एव शिष्टते नन्यद्यथा स्थूल्य तुसावग्राह्यतम्. Bhakti Yoga is the highest quality of perfection to be achieved by the intelligent person in lieu of performing a large quantity of spiritual activities. The example cited here is very appreciated. A handful of real paddy is more valuable than heaps of paddy skins without any substances within. Similarly, one should not be attracted by the jugglery of karma kanda or jnana kanda or even the gymnastics of performance of yoga, but skillfully should take to the simple performances of kirtanam, smaranam, etc. under a bona fide spiritual master and without any difficulty attain the highest perfection. Hare Krishna.
Even Brahmaji, he aspires for pure devotional service. In Chaitanya Bhagavat, there is a nice quotation given from Srimad Bhagavatam. And how Brahmaji says, count me as your devotee. When the day will come, when I will be counted as your devotee. Even though I may be born in the lowest species, let me be always called as your devotee. So devotee and devotional service, the highest position. Tapasvino danapara yashasvino manasvino mantravidha sumangala क्षेमं न विन्दन्ति विना यदर्पणं तस्मै सुभद्रश्रवसे नमो नमः. Tapaswini, even the great sages, the great performer of charity, Danaparaha, Yashasvina, the great worker of distinction, Manasvinaha, the great philosophers, Mantraviduhu, the great chanters, Sumangalaha, strict followers of Vedic principles, Shemam, fruitful results, Na Vindati, they cannot attain Vinayat Arpanam, without dedication unto him, Tasmahi Subhadraha, auspicious Shabase, hearing about him, Namaha, paying obeisances again and again. Manam. So let me offer my respectful obeisances unto the all auspicious Lord Shri Krishna again and again, because even the great learned sages, great performer of charity, great workers of distinction, the great philosophers, mystics, the great chanters, the great followers of Vedic principles cannot achieve any fruitful result without dedication of such great qualities to the service of the Lord. So everybody's success is dependent on surrendering to Krishna. Without surrendering to Lord, nobody can attain anything, any siddhis in their own endeavor. There may be different path, but all these different path is dependent on surrenderance to Lord. Everybody is dependent. Yogi, siddhi, everybody, yogi, jnani, karmi, everyone is dependent. Okay, Kusum.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandat Pranam. Take 17. Tapasvino dana para yashasvino manasvino mantravida sumangala क्षेमं न विदन्ति विना यद् अर्पणं तस्मै सुभद्रा शवसे नमो नमः. Translation purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto the all auspicious Lord Sri Krishna again and again, because the great learned sages, the great performance of charity, the great workers of distinction, the great philosophers and mystics, the great chanters of the Vedic hymns, and the great followers of Vedic principles cannot achieve any fruitful result without dedication of such great qualities to the service of the Lord. Purport: advancement of learning, a charitable disposition, political, social, or religious leadership of human society, philosophical speculations, the practice of the yoga system, expertise in the Vedic rituals, and all similar high qualities in man serve one in the attainment of perfection only when they are employed in the service of the Lord. Without such detailing, all such qualities become sources of trouble for people in general. Everything can be utilized either for one's own sense gratification or in the service of one other than oneself. There are two kinds of self interest also, namely personal selfishness and extended selfishness. But there is no qualitative difference between personal and extended selfishness. Theft for personal interest or for the family interest is of the same quality, namely criminal. A thief pleading not guilty because of committing theft not for personal interest but for the interest of society or country has never been excused by the established law of any country. People in general have no knowledge that the self interest of a living being attains perfection only when such an interest coincides with the interest of the Lord. For example, what is the interest of maintaining body and soul together? One earns money for maintenance of the body, personal or social, but unless there is God consciousness, unless the body is being properly maintained to realize one's relation with God, all good efforts to maintain body and soul together are similar to the attempts of the animals to maintain body and soul together. The purpose of maintaining the human body is different from that of the animals. Similarly, advancement of learning, economic development, philosophical research, study in the Vedic literature, or even the execution of pious activities like charity, opening of hospitals, and the distribution of food grains should be done in relation with the Lord. The aim of all such acts and endeavors must be the pleasure of the Lord and not the satisfaction of any other identity, individual or collective. Samsiddhir Haritoshanam. In the Bhagavad Gita 9.27, the same principle is confirmed where it is said that whatever we may give in charity and whatever we may observe in austerity must be given over to the Lord or be done on His account only. The expert leaders of a godless human civilization cannot bring about a fruitful result in all their different attempts at educational advancement or economic development unless they are God conscious. And to become God conscious, one has to hear about the all auspicious Lord as he is described in literature like the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you.
भोक्तारां यज्ञतपसां सर्वलोक महेश्वरं सुहृदं सर्वभूतानां यात्वा मां शान्तिमुच्यति. Only when a karmi offers his karma, bhoktaram, yajna is done by karmis, tapasam by jnanis. When he understands that bhoktaram is actually Krishna only, jnana tapasam, sarvaloka maheshwaram. The yogis meditate on that super soul. The super soul is Krishna only. Padrashtanu mantacha, bharta bhokta maheshwara, paramatmeti chapyukta dehesmin purusha para. Who is that Maheshwara? That Paramatma, who is situated in everyone's heart. Suhridam sarva bhuteshu. Next is bhaktas. They should know that Krishna is the only benefactor. That is Suhridam, real friend. Kiratahunandra pulinda pulkasho abhida shumbha yavana khasadaya ye anye chapapa yat apashrayashrayah shuddhyanti tasmai prabha vishnave namaha. So this Kirata, Puna, Andhra, Pulina, Pulinda, Pulkasha, Abhira, Shumbha, Yavana, members of the Khasa races, and even others addicted to sinful acts can be purified by taking shelter of the devotees of the Lord. Due to being the supreme power, I beg to offer my obeisances to him. There may be many sinful people. These are all compared to the sinful people. Kirata, Hana, Andhra, is Andhra Pradesh, Andhra, a province in southern India, mentioned in the Bhishma Parva, Pulindan. So people residing there perform sinful activities, but still, if they take shelter to Lord, they will be relieved of all the sins. These are the historical names which has been given. Okay, read, who will read? Vimla, read.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Text 18. Kiratahunandra pulinda pulkasha abhir shumbha yavana khasadaya yanya cha papa yadpashraya shuddhanti tasmai prabhavishnave namaha. Translation. Kirat, Huna, Andhra, Pulinda, Pulkash, Abhir, Shumbha, Yavanas, members of the Khas races, and even others addicted to sinful acts can be purified by taking shelter of the devotees of the Lord due to his being the supreme power. I beg to offer due to due to his being the supreme power. I beg to offer my respectful obeisances unto him. Purport. Kirat, a province of old Bharatvarsha mentioned in the Bhishma Parva of Mahabharata. Generally, the Kiratas are known as the aboriginal tribes of India, and in the modern days, the Santal Paraganas in Bihar and Chota Nagpur might comprise the old province named Kirat. Huna. The area of East Germany and part of Russia is known as the province of the Hunas. Accordingly, sometimes a kind of hill tribe is known as the Hunas. Andhra, a province in southern India mentioned in the Bhishma Parva of Mahabharat. It is still extant under the same name. Pulinda, it is mentioned in the Mahabharat Adi Parva 174.38, namely, the inhabitants of the province of the name Pulinda. This country was conquered by Bhimsen and Sahadev. The Greeks are known as Pulindas, and it is mentioned in the one Parva of Mahabharat that the non-Vedic race of this part of the world would rule over the world. This Pulinda province was also one of the provinces of Bharat, and the inhabitants were classified amongst the Kshatriya kings. But later on, due to their giving up the Brahminical culture, they were mentioned as Mlechas, just as those who are not followers of the Islamic culture are called Kafirs, and those who are not followers of the Christian culture are called Athens. Abhir. The name also appears in Mahabharat both in the Shabha, Shabha Purva Parva and Bhishma Parva. It is mentioned that this province was situated on the river Saraswati in Sindh. The modern Sindh province formerly extended on the other side of the Arabian Sea, and all the inhabitants of that province were known as the Abhiras. They were under the domination of Maharaj Yudhishthir, and according to the statements of Markandeya, the Mlechas of this part of the world would also rule over Bharat. Later on, this proved to be true, as in the case of the Pulindas. On behalf of the Pulindas, Alexander the Great conquered India, and on behalf of the Abhiras, Muhammad Ghori conquered India. These Abhiras were also formerly Kshatriyas within the Brahminical culture, but they gave up the connection. The Kshatriyas who were afraid of Parashuram, Parashuram and had hidden themselves in the Caucasian hilly regions later on became known as the Abhiras, and the place they inhabited was known as Abhiradesh. Abhiradesh. Shumbhas or Kankas. The inhabitants of the Kanka province of Old Bharat mentioned in the Mahabharat. Yavanas. Yavana was the name of one of the sons of Maharaj Yayati, who was given the part of the world known as Turkey to rule. Therefore, the Turks are Yavanas due to being descendants of Maharaj Yavan. The Yavanas were therefore Kshatriyas, and later on, by giving up the Brahminical culture, they become Mlecha Yavanas. Description of the Yavanas are in the Mahabharat, Adi Parva 85.34. Another prince called Turvashu. Turvashu was also known as Yavana, and his country was conquered by Sahadev, one of the Pandavas. The western Yavan joined with Duryodhan, and in the battle of Kurukshetra under the pressure of Karna. It is also foretold that these Yavanas would conquer India, and it proved to be true. Khas. Khas. The inhabitants of the Khas Desh are mentioned in the Mahabharat Drona Parva. Those who have stunted growth of hair on the upper lip are generally called Khas. Khasas. As such, the Khas are the Mongolians and the Chinese and others who are so designated. The above mentioned historical names are different nations of the world. Even those who are constantly engaged in sinful acts are all corrigible to the standard of perfect human beings if they take shelter of the devotees of the Lord. Jesus Christ and Muhammad, two powerful devotees of the Lord, have done tremendous service on behalf of the Lord on the surface of the globe. And from the version of Sri Shukdev Goswami, it appears that instead of running a godless civilization in the present context of the world situation, if the leadership of the world affairs is entrusted to the devotees of the Lord, for which a worldwide organization under the name and style of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness has already been started, then by the grace of the Almighty Lord, there can be a thorough change of heart in human beings all over the world because the devotees of the Lord are able authorities to effect such a change by purifying the dust-born minds of the people in general. The politicians of the world may remain in their respective positions because the pure devotees of the Lord are not interested in political leadership or diplomatic implications. The devotees are interested only in seeing that the people in general are not misguided by political propaganda and in seeing that the valuable life of human being is not spoiled in following a type of civilization which is ultimately doomed. If the politicians, therefore, would be guided by the good counsel of the devotees, then certainly there would be a great change in the world situation by the purifying propaganda of the devotees, as shown by the Lord Chaitanya, as shown by Lord Chaitanya. As Shukdev Goswami began his prayer by discussing the word Yat Kirtanam, so also Lord Chaitanya recommended that simply by glorifying the Lord's holy name, a tremendous change of heart can take place by which the complete misunderstanding between the human nations created by politicians can at once be extinguished. And after the extinction of the fire of misunderstanding, other profits will follow. The destination is to go back home, back to Godhead, as we have several times discussed in these pages. According to the cult of devotion, generally known as the Vaishnav cult, there is no bar against anyone's advancing in the matter of God realization. A Vaishnav is powerful enough to turn into a Vaishnav, even the Kirata, etc., as above mentioned. In the Bhagavad Gita 9.32, it is said by the Lord that there is no bar to becoming a devotee of the Lord, even for those who are low born or women, Shudras or Vaishyas. And by becoming a devotee, everyone is eligible to return home back to Godhead. The only qualification is that one takes shelter of a pure devotee of the Lord who has thorough knowledge in the transcendental science of Krishna, Bhagavad Gita, and Srimad Bhagavatam. Anyone from any part of the world who becomes well conversant in the science of Krishna becomes a pure devotee and a spiritual master for the general mass of people and may reclaim them by purification of heart. Though a person be even the most sinful man, he can at once be purified by systematic contact with a pure Vaishnava. A Vaishnava therefore can accept a bona fide disciple from any part of the world without consideration of caste and creed and promote him by regulative principles to the status of a pure devotee who is transcendental to Brahminical culture. The system of caste or Varnashram Dharma is no longer regular even amongst the so called followers of the system. Nor is it now possible to re-establish the institutional function in the present context of social, political, and economic revolution. Without any reference to the particular custom of a country, one can be accepted to the Vaishnav cult spiritually, and there is no hindrance in the transcendental process. So, by the order of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the cult of Srimad Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita can be preached all over the world, reclaiming all persons willing to accept the transcendental cult. Such cultural propaganda by the devotees will certainly be accepted by all persons who are reasonable and inquisitive without any particular bias for the custom of the country. The Vaishnav never accepts another Vaishnav on the basis of birthright, just as he never thinks of the deity of the Lord in a temple as an idol. And to remove all doubts in this connection, Sri Shukdev Goswami has invoked the blessings of the Lord who is all powerful. As the all powerful Lord accepts the humble service of his devotee in devotional activities of the Archan, his form as the worshipable deity in the temple. Similarly, the body of a pure Vaishnav changes transcendentally at once when he gives himself up to the service of the Lord and is trained by a qualified Vaishnava. The injunction of Vaishnav regulation in this connection runs as follows. Arche Vaishnav Shil Dhir Gurush Nara Matir Vaishnave Jati Buddhi Shri Vishnur Namni Shabda Samanya Buddhi, etc. One should not consider the deity of the Lord as worshipped in the temple to be an idol, nor should one consider the authorized spiritual master an ordinary man, nor should one consider a pure Vaishnava to belong to a particular caste, etc. Padma Purana. The conclusion is that the Lord, being all powerful, can, under any and every circumstance, accept anyone from any part of the world, either personally or through his bona fide manifestation as the spiritual master. Lord Chaitanya accepted many devotees from communities other than the uh, Varanasarmatis, and he himself declared to teach us that he does not belong to any caste or social order of life, but that he is the eternal servant of the Lord who maintains the damsels of Vrindavan, Lord Krishna. That is the way of self-realization. Hare Krishna.
One minute. Yeah. The conclusion is that the Lord, being all powerful, can handle any and every circumstance except anyone from any part of the world, either personally or through his modified manifestation. Lord Chaitanya accepted many devotees from communities other than Varnashramites. Natures are also accepted. Prabhupada did that. They don't come in Varnashram. And he himself declared to teach us that he does not belong to any caste or social order of life, but he is eternal servant of the servants, who maintain the damsels of Vrindavan. Very beautifully it has been told. So this is self-realization. 19. Sa esha atmatmavatma vishvara प्रियमयो धर्ममयस्तपोमयः धर्ममयस्तपोमयः गतव्यलीकैर् अज शङ्करादिभिः वितर्क्यलिङ्गो भगवान् प्रसीदताम्. He is a super soul and supreme lord of all self-realized souls. Saha means he, Atma, super soul, Atmavatam, of the self-realized souls. Adhishvara, he is the supreme lord. Trayimaya is a personified Vedas, or is a personification of the Vedas. Dharmamaya, personified religious scriptures. Is Tapamaya, is a personification of all the austerities. Gatavelikaha, by those who are all above all pretensions. So he is worshipped by Lord Brahma, Ajaha Shankara Adivi, Lord Brahma and Shiva, and all those who are transcendental to all pretensions, being so revered with awe and veneration, may that Supreme Absolute be pleased with me. Vitarkya Lingaha, so he is observed with awe and veneration. So Bhagavan Prasitakam, be kind towards me or be pleased with me. That is what Sukadeva Goswami is pleading to Lord. Okay. Ashok Prabhu, Amala Krishna Das Prabhu. Amala Krishna Prabhu.
हरे कृष्ण। सा एषात्मा अवतादम अधीश्वर सा स्त्रैमयो धर्मस्य तमोपाया गत्व्यलिकैर अज शंकर आदिभिर विक्तरे लिंगो भगवान प्रसीदताम। ट्रांसलेशन पर शिला प्रभुपाद की जय। ट्रांसलेशन he is the super soul and the supreme lord of all self-realized souls. He is the personification of the Vedas, religious scriptures, and austerities. He is worshipped by Lord Brahma and Shiva and all those who are transcendental to all pretensions. Being so revered with awe and veneration, may that Supreme Absolute be pleased with me. Purport. The Supreme Lord The personality of Godhead, although the Lord of all followers of different paths of self-realization, is knowable only by those who are above all pretensions. Everyone is searching for eternal peace or eternal life, and with an aim to this destination, everyone is either studying the Vedic scriptures or other religious scriptures or undergoing severe austerity as empiric philosophers, as mystic yogis, or as unalloyed devotees, etc. But the Supreme Lord is perfectly realized only by the devotees because they are all above pretensions. Those who are on the path of self realization are generally classified as karmis, jnanis, yogis, or devotees of the Lord. The karmis who are much attracted by the fruitive activities of the Vedic rituals are called bhukti kami, or those who desire material enjoyment. The Gyanis who try to become one with the Supreme by mental speculation are called Mukti Kami, or those who desire liberation from material existence. The mystic yogis who practice different types of austerities for attainment of 8 kinds of material perfection and who ultimately meet the super soul Paramatma in trance are called Siddhikami, or those who desire the perfection of becoming finer than the finest, becoming heavier than the heaviest, getting everything desired, having control over everyone, creating everything, etc. All these are abilities of a powerful yogi. But the devotees of the Lord do not want anything like that for self satisfaction. They want only to serve the Lord because the Lord is great, and as living entities, they are eternally subordinate parts and parcels of the Lord. This perfect realization of the self by the devotee helps him to become desireless, to desire nothing for personal self, and thus the devotees are called nishkami, without any desire. A living entity, by his constitutional position, cannot be void of all desires. The Bhukti Kami, Mukti Kami, and Siddhi Kami all desire something for personal satisfaction, but the Nishkami devotees of the Lord desire everything for the satisfaction of the Lord. They are completely dependent on the orders of the Lord and are always ready to discharge their duty for the satisfaction of the Lord. In the beginning, Arjuna placed himself as one of those who desire self satisfaction, for he desired not to fight in the battle of Kurukshetra, but to make him desireless. The Lord preached the Bhagavad Gita, in which the ways of Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Hatha Yoga, and also Bhakti Yoga were explained. Because Arjuna was without any pretension, he changed his decision and satisfied the Lord by agreeing to fight Karishye Vachanam Tava, and thus he became desireless. The examples of Brahma and Lord Shiva are specifically cited here because Brahma ji, Lord Shiva, Shrimati Lakshmi ji, and the 4 Kumaras, Sanak Sanatan, etc., are leaders of the 4 desireless Vaishnava Sampradayas. They are all freed from all pretensions. Srila Jiva Goswami interprets the word Gat Vyalikai as Projita Kataiva, or those who are freed from all pretensions, the unalloyed devotees only. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya 19.49, it is said, Krishna Bhakta Nishkam At Eva Shant Bhukti Mukti Siddhi Kami Sakali Ashant. Those who are after fruitive results for their pious activities, those who desire salvation and identity with the Supreme, and those who desire material perfections or mystic power are all restless because they want something for themselves. But the devotee is completely peaceful because he has no demand for himself and is always ready to serve the desire of the Lord. The conclusion is, therefore, that the Lord is for everyone because no one can achieve the result of his respective desires without his sanction. But as stated by the Lord in Bhagavad Gita 8.9, all such results are awarded by him only. For the Lord is Adishwara, the original controller of everyone, namely the Vedantists, the great Karma Kandyas, the great religious leaders, the great performers of austerity, and all those are striving for spiritual advancement. But ultimately, he is realized by the pretensionless devotees only. Therefore, special stress is given to the devotional service of the Lord by Srila Shukadev Goswami. Hare Krishna.
कृष्ण भक्त अक्षिष्काम अतीव शांत मुक्ति मुक्ति सिद्धिगामी सकली शांत. Here we start. Thursday we'll try to complete this lesson. It has 6 verses, 20th to 25. Any questions? Okay. Panchakarikarudhyascha, Kripa Sindhudhyascha,